Greetings and welcome to the Mount Rushmore podcast. You've probably heard songs about love, about the end of love, about a million different topics, but those don't pay the bills. And songs about money pay the bills. And that is what we are discussing this time around. And it's Richard's topic. Richard, why did you choose this topic?
Um, because I just started thinking about, topics for music episodes because we hadn't done one in a little while at least. It'd been a minute. And I just started thinking about how many songs there are about money and what a popular topic that is for songs. And I just thought that would be fertile ground for us to explore and there's a lot of different ways you can write songs about money. So I think that within this episode, it's going to be various types of lyrical attempts to take on the concept of money.
Exciting. I did
So that's it.
abbreviate the intro. Richard and Michael like
Hey,
debate.
time is money.
Oh,
Jeff.
sorry. Okay. All right. Great. So Richard chose the topic. So money, Mike. What is your first choice?
My first choice is "Money, Money" by Billy Idol.
Oh,
wait, no, I'm kidding. It's
money,
not
money,
Moni.
money,
It's not
money,
Moni.
money.
Hold on, that was a quick typo. No, my first choice was probably the stupidest choice, which I don't mind leading off with that one, which is "Give Me Some Money" by the Taxman, who eventually became Spinal Tap.
fun.
Of course.
Of all the songs on here that I thought, Richard, we might have a dual pick of it, I think it was this one. But what I love about this song is that it's this rarely kind of lascivious sort of like bluesy kind of guitar song where the lyrics are, "Stop wasting my time. You know what I want. You know what I need. You mean maybe you don't," and you think they're going to go into something about sex, but just give me. Do I have to come right out and tell you everything? Just give me some money, and then, like it's just so funny. It's so stupid that it feels just right in line with a Spinal Tap, and then another chorus of it says, "I'm going to leave you. I'm walking out the door, but not before you give me some money." And it was immediately the first thing I thought of, and the first money song that I thought of, they're so lame. Just the chorus of "Give me some money, give me some money, give me some money." I don't know. I can never go wrong with Spinal Tap song. They are like the Dustin Hoffman of songs, where solution to every problem is there's
a tap reference for every topic we choose.
I appreciate this because I love that the song makes two appearances in the movie.
Yes.
Later on, after the archival footage is shown, when Janine first shows back up and surprises David, when they're doing a sound check, that's the song that they're playing is GSM. And it's this even worse, like metaled out version of the song. So they managed to take a basic song and somehow make it even more basic. An impressive feat.
Do you guys think they're doing? I feel like what Spinal Tap does fairly well. That, like, say the Ruddles, we definitely know what they're referring to, but Spinal Tap, I feel like there was more Stones than Beatles. That, like, especially David St. Huband's kind of posturing was definitely felt like Mick Jagger, kind of this.
Sure.
Yeah, sticking that chin out, that you kind of daring you to punch it a little bit. But then when I think of the topic, I think that's really definitely a George Harrison song right there.
Well, I think I think the Spinal Tap was so good, and that movie was so good at pulling from every aspect of, like, rock and roll culture leading up to that point. And the fact that the like Richard said, there's like this archival footage of pictures of them like meeting as kids. I mean, certainly pulled aspects of like, Lennon and McCartney, but then you see them in like this weird psychedelic 60s thing that looks like I don't know, not quite Beatles-esque, but there's something there that I'm
Yeah.
something from Laugh-In or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course the fact that they're doing like heavy metal rock and roll now. I mean, can you imagine the Beatles going to that at that point? No.
Yeah. Cool pick. Fun thing coming out with Tap. That's pretty bold. So, Richard, what's your first choice?
All right, so you mentioned the Beatles, and I will go straight into a Beatles song. My first choice is
Okay.
Taxman
Oh, okay. Yeah.
by the Beatles.
Oh, great.
Written in 1966 and released on their album Revolver. It was the lead track off of
Mm-hmm.
Revolver, I believe. And it's all about basically the fact that the Beatles in 1966, despite being, you would think, fabulously wealthy from all of their record sales and live appearances and everything else, were flat broke. And that was because of a progressive tax which had been implemented, among other things, a progressive tax that was being implemented in the United Kingdom that was going to see them pay about 90% of their earnings over to the government. And so George Harrison would basically they received in '66 they received a a report from an accountancy firm that basically said two of you are close to being bankrupt and the other two of you could be soon. And it was just shocking to them that, like, wait a second, we've made all these millions of pounds and yet somehow we're close to being in the poorhouse.
Mm-hmm.
How is this even possible? It was especially galling to them that the government was then going to turn around and use their money to build more weapons, among other things.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the lyrical inspiration for the song. And it's probably the first George song that the rest of the bands, especially Paul and John, really appreciated and saw as a song that could stand really toe to toe with the Lennon and McCartney songs,
Hmm.
or Lennon and McCartney songs.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's
Yeah,
cool.
before that, I mean, they kind of viewed George's songs as kind of fun little throwaway. Like, hey, let's give George a number every once, for every album. Let's give him let him have one of his songs on. This was the first one where everyone kind of agreed, yeah, this is a real good song.
Mm-hmm.
What they didn't agree on was the quality of George Harrison's guitar solo, which apparently was so bad that Paul McCartney had to come in and re-record it after the fact, and just lays down a blistering guitar
Mm-hmm.
solo. One of my
Mm-hmm.
all-time favorite guitar solos from any Beatles song, maybe any song, is
Mm-hmm.
McCartney's solo on this song. And so there will be songs on here that complain about money problems, but a lot of times you're going to see musicians trying to put themselves into remember what it was like when they didn't have money, or put themselves in the mindset of somebody who didn't have money. This is someone in the moment bitching about the fact that I make all this money and yet I have none of it. I find that interesting.
Yeah. That's a really cool poll. I remember reading about, and this was before Thatcher era, kind of their equivalent of Reagan, kind of letting the wealthy absorb all that wealth. But yeah, I don't know if it was even a special artist kind of class that some of the wealthy got put into. But remember reading that the names that Harrison checks in there, Taxman Mr. Wilson and Taxman Mr. Heath, were actually magistrates, or they're
No,
actually real.
they were heads of the Labor and Conservative
Were
parties
they? Okay,
in
yeah.
England.
I just love that he name checks the actual dudes. We made the song.
Yeah. Hey, look at us.
Yeah,
We're big time now. We're in a Beatles song, says the Prime Minister
yeah.
of the UK.
I think this album also, and I know it's not, we're talking about songs about money, but the Beatles had evolved into the place where Dylan had evolved, where I'm not going to sing songs about train wrecks and folk and folk
Right.
heroes anymore. I'm just going to talk about shit around me. And so, she said, comes out of a Lennon experience with
With
a Hollywood actor,
Peter Fonda, right?
Peter Fonda. Yeah. And just, and then good old Ringo's, Yellow Submarine. I love that he's singing a song about living in a yellow submarine. But yeah, was seeing them kind of step into their identities and embrace the psychedelic um, uh, sounds that were around them
And the
too was
first
really
time they
fun.
got
Yeah.
political too,
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
really.
yeah. Um, cool. Okay, Michael, what's your second one?
Well, I'm gonna stay with the Beatles, but step
Oh,
back
nice.
a year or so and
Step
go with
back.
with "Can't Buy Me Love,"
Oh,
where
fun.
I
Oh,
think
okay.
as an ideal kind of kind of early um, Beatles-ish song before they got psychedelic, where uh, it was just an idealized version of what love is for them, about how uh, money doesn't mean anything, but love means everything. And it's, it's so much of the Beatles turned in how much of the Beatles kind of mythos was around love is this like unifying force. Love, God, Ringo Starr says it's peace and love every, I think
Peace and
it's his
love,
contract.
peace and love.
I think his contract with the universe was mentioning peace and love as like a mantra
I'll be
almost.
signing no more autographs. Peace and love.
But it's just like such I don't know, as a song about money, they talk about how it seems like they have it at this point. Speaking to Richard's previous comments about how they got uh dinged by the Taxman, but they sing
Mhm.
about having money, and then they also sing about how it doesn't mean anything if your love
Yeah.
isn't there or their love isn't there. And I don't know if this was another one of those that I thought of kind of almost in retaliation to um, the uh, the Spinal Tap song that I just also talked about. I think they almost go kind of hand in hand. I don't know if this is what they were kind of referencing when they uh, with the Spinal Tap song, but I kind
Mhm.
of wanted to have something on there that was less about that mentioned how uh,
Mhm.
money isn't worth all that it is. I guess.
Yeah. I do feel like it, like the early in their career, they were kind of playing with like rock and blues kind of forms, and it seems like there probably was a blues song that was something in terms of money could buy this, money can buy that, but can money buy you the love of a woman? So it does seem like for sure they were kind of evolving that. Can you hear the dog?
Oh yeah,
My life,
big
Yeah.
time.
my fucking life. All right, hold on a second. Hush.
There's an alligator out back. Jeff's gonna come back missing an arm and try to be like, "Oh, everything's fine."
Not quieter at all. That is, that's my favorite moment in the film Hard Day's Night, because they're
Mm.
being kind of pent up. I forget where they are. They're in like a truck or a train or something, and they somehow find an escape route, and they go, "We're out!" And then "Can't Buy Me Love" it kicks in, and it's the best part of that film. That's pretty awesome. You could almost do. We could do a Beatles songs about money and tracking
Just
their
Beatles
career.
songs about money. That's funny.
Yeah, I love it too, because Harrison write Taxman? I thought he wrote
Yeah.
Taxman,
Hmm.
but it seems like one or two albums later, they had met the Maharishi, and material things are no longer important to them.
Hmm.
but
Exactly.
that wasn't yet. Okay, Richard, what's your second choice?
All right. So speaking of the Beatles,
Hmm.
um, I'm gonna go with a song that was famously covered by the Beatles, but I'm not choosing the Beatles version of it.
Oh,
I am going with "Money." That's what I
yeah,
want,
yeah.
by Barrett Strong, released in 1959. Became a hit in later in 1960 is when it really became a hit in the U.S. Was a co-written by possibly by Barry Gordy and Janine Bradford. I say
Hmm.
possibly because Barrett Strong also claims that he was a co-songwriter on this and should have received the royalties. Boy, Barry Gordy screwing somebody out of royalties. This is not a shock, and not a shock that a song about money would turn into a money dispute. Um, and this was actually Motown's first hit record. Motown was, Berry Gordy had really just started up the Hitsville studio. He had, it was, this was kind of one of the songs that launched Motown, so to speak. And I just love the song because the rhythm of the song is just so incredible. That doom 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 doom, that driving rhythm, I think is just a fantastic thing. And then lyrically, it's just this great song about, you know, you can give me basically it's like you can give me all the love you want and that's great. That's not going to pay my bills. What I need
Yeah.
is money.
Mm.
And that's pretty much the entire musical message of the song. You can give me all your love, and that's great. But how about giving me some of that cash? It really is an early version of Give Me Some Money,
Yeah.
except taken seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Fun fact about the song, nobody knows who played bass on it. And it was only years later that authors were able to identify who the guitar player was,
Oh.
because the guitar and bass player were just, quote, and this is from the Wikipedia, two white kids walking home from school who heard the music out on the street and wandered into Hitsville and asked if they could play along.
Huh.
So apparently back in 1959 in Detroit, if you're just walking past Motown and you heard a song you liked, you could just sort of run in there and pick up a guitar and get on a hit record. So that's appreciated.
God, I would love if it was like, hi, I'm Bernie Sanders. I play a little bit of guitar.
Yeah.
Or something like, what? It wasn't Hall & Oates. Wow, it's funny, that looseness by which the business was run and accountability almost seems like part of the solution for those two kids, but the problem for everybody else. Like, if their books are, this business is run in such a like with the um with like Swiss cheese,
Yeah.
bookkeeping, then um that might have been part of the problem. Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, it seems like so many artists got screwed out of money. I was recently watching a doc on Parliament Funkadelic, and here was a guy trying to break free George Clinton from the Motown mold that they were all stuck in.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of these artists who had been in the machinery of Motown were trying to break free of it and do the psychedelic stuff and do funk and do all this new stuff. But then, damn it, if George Clinton just didn't take all their money, just like Barry Gordy did,
Yeah.
and screw
Yeah.
them out of publishing.
Just in a different, same, meet the old boss, same as the new
Yeah,
boss,
yeah,
really.
yeah.
This song, great song, was a hit. Like I said, covered by the Beatles a few years later, also the Rolling Stones. Um, Also, the Flying Lizards did a new wave version of the song, which is maybe a cover that
Oh
some
yeah.
of you are familiar with
Mhm.
the
Yeah,
very
for
kind
sure.
of the very droll, sort of monotone female singing voice.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of it's been made into a fun song a lot of different ways, and I think
Yeah.
I just love how direct it is. Like I said, it is give me some money, but taken seriously.
Maybe you said this, but did the Blutarsky Belushi character in National Lampoon sing it at a frat party or something like that? I know it's on the
Boy,
soundtrack for National Lampoon's Animal House, and Belushi is singing it, which presaged his blues penchant.
oh, before the
Yeah,
pre-Blues Brothers.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
All right, so don't give us money. Just give us the currency of your downloads and ratings and reviews. We would
No,
appreciate.
no, give us your money. Don't listen to Jeff. I don't give a crap about reviews.
What's
You
the
can
exchange rate on
Venmo me
reviews
at
nowadays? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, what is the exchange rate on reviews? It's like it's Dogecoin. It's nearly worthless. Well, yeah, give whatever you want to. You could send us money, but if you're in the mood to even share, in fact, give the Mount Rushmore podcast to one of your friends or colleagues or loved ones via social media. Share out an episode, share out the podcast. That would be really cool. That would be something we would value as much as money, right, Richard? No, he wants money.
no,
But
no, no.
yeah, and
I
then
mean, I
also,
mean, certain things are invaluable, but I prefer the
yeah.
more valuable things.
you ever give those love coupon, like, when you as a kid didn't have any money, like, you got a piece of paper and you wrote, like, "1 hug," or "I'll do the dishes," or something like
What do you think I did for Mother's Day?
that. I would like to go to a place that says, "We accept competitors' coupons," and you just hand them that. Okay, so, yeah. So, we're back, and now Michael is gonna let us know his 3rd choice.
My third choice is the Puff Daddy song. Or was he just Puffy then? I guess he was Puff Daddy. It's all
Oh.
about the Benjamins from 1997, where uh, there's a big staple of like his um, persona was just kind of having money and being rich and showing people how rich and moneyful he was. Is moneyful a word? It should be.
Yes, yes.
Um, but the song, is um, a rap song. Is a pretty insipid song. It's pretty droning. It's pretty. I listened to it a couple times today when I was thinking about this, and it just kind of goes on, and the lyrics aren't super great. Uh, Trying to get my hands on some grants like Horace is a real stretch of lyrics for basketball fans, for any sort of fans.
Fans
Uh,
of the video game NBA Jam.
um, 3-course meals, spaghetti, fettuccine, and veal. Is that a rich guy move to have two plates of different kinds of spaghetti? I wish he had like a third. I wish it was like and the curlicues or like the rigatoni or or
Yeah,
like or fusilli or something.
yeah.
Anyway, like there's a lot of like dumb rapping in this song, a lot of
Mhm.
dumb songwriting, but I think it really speaks to um my fourth choice is going to speak to lifestyle too, but just a lifestyle of being rich and flaunting richness and showing that you've made it by talking about how much money you have. And so much of so many songs about money are about either I don't have it or it doesn't mean so much to me, or the third option is I got a lot of money and you got to deal with it. And I think that there's a big aspect of like um, kind of like a mid to late 90s rap culture was all about like I've made it, and look, I'm bringing all my friends with me and we all have money now, and these are the Ferraris and Mercedes that we're driving, and you've got to deal with it because I'm here. Um, and I think, yeah,
I can't get over the 2 different pastas. That's so
yeah,
funny.
That's incredible.
Man, when I'm rich.
I'm gonna have spaghetti and fettuccine.
Uh,
maybe there could be like spaghetti, but it's in like a tube pasta,
Yo, yo,
like
yo, yo,
inside rigatoni. It's just like a threaded, beaded necklace of spaghetti that you could have. That would be
yo, yo,
like,
yo. I'm gonna grate some penne pasta on top of my spaghetti like it's cheese. That's what I'm
yeah,
gonna do.
for a non-president,
mm,
Benjamin Franklin did pretty good with himself. He got on money, he got on rap songs.
Yeah,
Uh,
this song I mainly remember the as an ambulance goes tearing past. For this song, I mainly remember the rock remix version of it that
mm.
had a Spike Jones directed video because it was 1999, so everyone had to attempt to get on the
oh,
rap rock bandwagon.
oh, I didn't know there was one.
Yeah, and it had Dave Grohl on drums, and Rob Zombie was in the band, and Tommy Stinson from the Replacements
Wow.
playing bass on it. Um, so I remember that, and there are a lot of Puff related songs that are about money.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You could have gone a number of directions there. I'm happy you took this one. I I I played around with the idea of putting "Mo Money, Mo Problems" by
Hmm.
Biggie on there as well. Um, yeah,
Sarah Jessica Parker was on David Letterman, and they
What a
had
transition.
in panel, she's sitting there talking. She didn't perform or anything like that, but she's sitting in the guest chair, and he said, "You got to hang out, or you and your husband Matthew got to hang out with a rap star recently." And she said, "Yeah, I went to a party at Puff Daddy's house." And well, I shouldn't say house. I should say the biggest mansion I've ever seen. And then she immediately said, "He is Gatsby." Like he
Mm.
is the modern Gatsby who's got this past that implies that there's some kind of criminal element to it or whatever, but that his mythos is very much that that persona, and with lyrics and things like that, it's just kind of supporting and reinforcing that throughout the
Do you know
whole
what's
thing.
wild? He's only 52.
Is that right? Can
I
that be
would
right?
imagine. It's so funny. Like there are things that when one is a teenager, somebody that is, you know, uh, 8 years older than
Oh
you
yeah.
can be
Yeah.
uh, look so much older than you.
Yeah.
But in 1996, when this came out, or 97, I was 18 going on 19 or whatever, and he was probably what, 24,
Yeah.
25 or something. And it's like, oh, you're not that much older than me. Now he's like, that's
Yeah.
that's wild to think. That's wild to be like, oh, we could be on like this. We could have been on this different. We could have been on the same
Kickball teams.
kickball team. Like if
Yeah.
our situations were very different. If
Yeah.
somehow you were, on the West Coast and not a, almost billionaire rap star.
Uh-huh. Richard, speaking of billionaires, Richard, what's your third one?
Mm.
Uh, Before I get to my third one, I'm really surprised Michael did not reference All About the Pentiums, the Weird Al version of that
Oh.
song.
Oh.
I should have. I got to go listen to that because I'm sure that he does a much. I wonder how many types of spaghetti he raps about in that one.
I bet Weird Al has rapped about pasta in his day.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
just
Oh,
just gonna
a hundred
Yeah.
percent.
throw that out there.
Is his
My third choice is "Opportunities" by the Pet Shop Boys.
Oh, great
oh.
song. I almost chose this one. Good one. Real
Oh,
good one.
good. I'm glad. Um, yeah, it was a one of their early singles that originally bombed, but then after West End Girls came out and was a number one hit in the U.S. and the U.K., it was re-released for their debut album with a remix and wound up peaking at number 10 in the US and 11 in the UK. And I basically I love the lyrical content of this, which is basically this guy talking to another guy, presumably at a bar somewhere or somewhere like that, about all these great ideas that he has that are going to make them both rich, because the one guy's got all the bronze and the looks, and the guy who's talking has all the brains. And I just Neil Tennant has talked about this and about writing the song. Um, that there were just this is a conversation between two losers. Like whatever scheme this guy has in his head to make money, it's not going to work. This guy is just some loser at a bar who's trying to talk up some get rich quick scheme, probably trying to rip the other guy off out of his money. He's probably the sucker in the whole exchange. And a lot of people have taken the song as sort of this uh, celebration of greed and 80s sort of wealth and the love of money. And Neil Tennant has just come out and said, no, it's the exact opposite of that. Whoever thinks that got it completely wrong.
Well, that's really interesting. There was a you know, uh yeah, there was a song, um there's an article about Thatcher era impact on music on British music, and there was a
Mm.
song essentially kind of spoofing Thatcher era mentality of money, being money hungry, and it the sarcasm was not heard by the people in who became it was like a perceived as a pro money um pro um uh wealth anthem, and people did not hear the sarcasm in it. Uh,
Right.
and it sounds like people didn't hear the sarcasm in opportunities.
No, they
Right. Yeah.
didn't, which is why there is an Allstate commercial that comes out during the Super Bowl in 2021 that uses the song, and it's used in a very non-ironic sort of way with
Uh-huh.
a guy and a hood ornament singing along to it
Yeah.
about how, just about all the, being able to save money in that case. But
Mhm.
um yeah, when that Allstate commercial came out, I didn't realize that they actually re-released the song and it became a #1 dance track here in the U.S. all these years later.
Really? Within the last
Yeah,
recent, like,
last
oh,
year it came out.
wow.
Yeah, it was a 2021 Super Bowl commercial.
Wow.
So yeah,
That
good for
funny
the
when
Pet Shop Boys. One of my low key favorite bands.
Uh-huh.
is that
I think they're
is that funny
very
when
underrated.
is that funny when that happens? A few years ago, when Missy Elliott was on the Super Bowl too, and she was like supporting. I can't remember who the lead singer was, but I remember Missy coming out and saying part of one of her songs, whether it was gospel folk or something. And I remember all like this Twitter chatter was like, "Oh, who's this? It's really nice of this person to give this other person this chance." Is like, she's been around for like 20 years. Like, how do you? It's amazing that there sometimes could be like this cultural void of, or like a memory hole of like a person's career, or it could be just like young kids don't know anything, or just do not think to look back in any meaningful way. Um, and then somebody is just like, oh, how is this person not famous? It's like, yeah, she's been famous.
Yeah. Rihanna and Kanye doing a song with this old British guy in the background named Paul
Yeah.
a few years ago. Hey man, that guy's pretty good on a guitar. That Paul McCartney guy. Yeah, he's pretty good. It was really nice of them to bring him along. I can kind of see that. Speaking of money and
Mm.
music, how marketing does create these kind of streams of attention that direct people very quickly towards the thing that they're trying to sell, and don't really give much room for them to even kind of turn around and look backwards and observe the stuff behind them, because it's just there's so much money being spent on getting people to buy the new thing. They're not going to
Richard,
maybe.
I feel like that Flying Lizards version of Money That's What I Want Too was featured in a commercial, that specific version. I mean, I'm sure that that song across the board has been in many different commercials over the years, but I have some memory of like, it feels like a Geico commercial.
Yeah, maybe the lizard was. Maybe you're getting the lizard all
Could be.
conflated in your head with the band. But no, I'm with you. I seem to remember hearing it on some commercial. So
You know, it's funny.
Yeah.
You started with Moni Moni as a joke, and the Pet Shop Boys brought out "You Were Always on My Mind," and I'm always amazed at what British
Mm.
acts will pick up out of the American kind of catalog. And I think Moni Moni was a Tommy James and the Shondells
yes,
track or something like that. Yeah, and Billy Idol pulled it out, pulled it out. So something is and so for the Pet Shop Boys to do a Willie Nelson track, it's like what? What's going
they
on?
actually did it as there was a British. I know this from a book Michael got me one year for Christmas about songs. I think it was you that got it for me, right, Michael?
Hmm. Let's say
You remember
yes.
that? Okay. Uh,
Uh,
it was a really memorable Christmas, I guess. But no, it was a song that was actually they decided to do it for a an Elvis special that was being run on the BBC. I think it was the BBC.
Oh,
Um, and Always on My Mind had been an Elvis song before as a Willie Nelson song.
okay.
And the punchline here is that the Pet Shop Boys really didn't like Elvis. They just kind of
Ah,
been like signed up to do this by their management. So they found a song and decided to take it as far away from Elvis as they possibly could.
okay.
wow.
Wow, that's pretty great.
Yeah,
That's a lot of fun.
yeah, it's sort of just like we have to do this. How do we do this in the least Elvis way possible?
Mhm, mhm.
Because it's not like if you're the Pet Shop Boys, who thought who was the genius who thought the Pet Shop Boys and Elvis would be a perfect match to begin with?
Yeah.
They're not doing blue suede shoes, you guys.
Michael, what's your last shot?
My last song of choice is Material Girl by Madonna. And I
Ah,
think that a couple of reasons. One, um, it's amazing when a song becomes such singular identifier for a person that she became known as the Material Girl going forward after the song came out in 1984, and is still kind of referred to as the Material Girl. I'm guessing that while it probably won't be like on her tombstone. It will probably be like in the first line of her obituary. Like it would be, Madonna, what's her last name? Ciccone,
Yeah.
um, aka the Material Girl, or something. Like
Uh,
I can't imagine that something as important as that won't be. But the song itself is a uh, I also I think kind of captures like the materialism of the 1980s as well. I think it kind of
yeah.
with her peaked. These two things kind of had a Venn diagram of sorts of just like, oh well, wealth and 80s America and this uh, beautiful singer, and then you throw on top of that this kind of Marilyn Monroe type dress, movie star aspect to her for her music video, and the song in the video took off, and it's a song all about it's the antithesis of the Beatles song from earlier too is uh, you know your love doesn't mean anything to me. I'm living in this material world where really what you have in terms of money means everything to me, and all these things that you can give me, and um, I'm trying to think of what else I want to say. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that uh, she kind of just declares, I'm living in a material world and I'm a
Mhm.
material girl, and you can kind of suck it.
Well, I know that Madonna kind of wound up sort of not disowning the song, but sort of, you know, becoming a little bit embarrassed by it. She didn't really love the Material Girl nickname that she got because of it. She thought that people didn't understand that it was much like a song like Opportunities. It was supposed to be ironic, and people missed the joke.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, me
She was,
neither.
yeah.
That's
I do
interesting.
like in '84. She, when I first started watching Madonna on MTV, she was in Borderlines, where she was this kind of waifish street urchin who's taken in by a rich guy with a nice car, and he's, I think, taking photos of her as she's graffitiing the wall, and she sprays his car, and he gets upset at her because he values people over or things over people. So it didn't seem like a big kind of 180 from that identity that she had, but definitely, I think as we saw her take on one identity after another, kind of realized that she was very influenced by a movie like Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend, or How to Marry a Millionaire. I forget what that movie is, but like, yeah, yeah, she was just trying. I think people didn't know then that these were just identities to her that she was trying on to stay in fashion. All right, okay, Richard, what is your final choice?
All right, my fourth choice. I would not be a Rushmore music episode if I didn't dip into the XTC well.
Oh, okay, all right.
A But it makes sense in this case because they're a band that have had lots of money problems over the years and have written pretty extensively about said money problems over the years. The song I'm going with is "Earn Enough for Us," which is
Oh,
off of
fun.
their album Skylarking.
Uh-huh.
Um, just a great power pop song with this incredible like lead guitar part by Dave Gregory that would do any big star song proud. And lyrically, it's an Andy Partridge song, and it contains one of my favorite lyrics about being broke that I know, which is found a house that won't repair itself with its windows cracking and a roof held together with holes.
Hmm.
I just love that the roof held together with
With
holes. I think
holes.
that's just an incredibly evocative uh, use of wordplay there. And the whole song is basically about how he's been praying all week and hoping that he has enough money that he can not just pay the rent, but be able to keep his girl with him. That hopefully that he has enough money that his girlfriend or wife or whoever it is not going to leave him. Which that's a depressing thought,
Yeah.
especially later on in the song where part of it talks about, you know, basically the girlfriend or slash wife telling him that she's pregnant and him now we're having to worry about not just putting a roof over their heads, but also over how am I going to take care financially of this baby. And most of the songs we brought up here were songs about gaining money, wanting money, trying to get money because you want to buy lots of cool stuff. This is the rare rock song that is basically about being abjectly broke. That maybe Dead End Street by the Kinks is another one, but the there's nothing very rock swaggery about singing about how dead broke you are. And XCC not a rock.
Common People by the Cure by
Pulp. That would be another one. Yeah, that would be a good choice. So there are a few out there, but it's certainly the exception, I think, and not the rule.
I think is interesting is when rock started to give a fuck about money. Like why? Why?
Right.
But probably I don't know if punk gave a fuck about money. Punk was probably saying "fuck you, money," and the structures that make it the most important thing on the planet to some people. So I do think it's interesting that rock kind of evolved its audience throughout the years to be for teenagers to a broader audience to adults to there's different genres of rock, but something like Summertime Blues, that's like a kid trying to put together a couple dollars. It's about somebody who's a disenfranchised person in an economic bracket that makes them suffer. And I find it interesting that rock is often about the underdog, but shouldn't we not transcend this material stuff with rock, or is rock's most important aspect its relatability, so that we can tap our toes and then nod along to our head like we can get what the singer's saying. So that's interesting to me. Why does rock care? Classical doesn't care about money.
It's not a song about girls, so why should it be a rock song?
Yeah. This was funny, speaking of like money, reading about Todd Rundgren producing this, and these drunk idiots going off to the pub while he's doing arrangements and things at night to try to make these amazing songs for them.
And then them getting more and more progressively angry at him because he actually has the gall to produce them.
Yeah, to produce them. What is it that Andy said? Why didn't you and Todd get along? Two Hitlers, one bunker.
Two Hitlers, one bunker. Yeah.
Yeah.
They also used to play because they were recording in Woodstock, New York, and it was like the recording studios in this. It's very rustic, and he would come down from his house to the recording studio, and they could see him coming every morning, and they would play the Munsters theme as he would walk in. Because they thought he looked like Herman Munster.
Herman Munster.
And Todd Rundgren never figured out why they were doing that.
Oh, geez. All right, my dudes, this was a lot of fun. And you know what? Everybody gets money. Everybody gets money.
Money in the form of your love?
Money in the form of my love. Everybody gets 4 monies. So 4 points to Michael, 4 points to Richard. Because you deserve the money.
All right.
Is that cool with you guys?
Seems
okay,
so.
Thanks.
I don't have anything to say. I don't have any say in this, Jeff. You're the
you're the judge.
You're the boss.
The judge.
I'm just the peon worker here who's trying to scrape out a living. So yeah, if you say so, boss.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Richard. It's a shame he taxed me for 3 of my 4 points, though. I had to give 3 of them.
Get 1 point out of it. Yeah,
I only got 1 inland revenue would like 75% of your earnings. All right, my dudes. This has been the Mount Rushmore of Songs About Bunny. I'm always Jeff.
I'm Richard.
I'm Michael.